Start.
We welcome Dr. T.S. Sudra Rao, sir.
I'll start.
We have the presentation, please.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. At the outset, I'm really grateful for Pastoral Foundation for giving this extraordinary great opportunity for me to share my ideas with you and all the people who are participating in this particular program. Hello. Am I seen properly? Hello?
Very much. Very much. Yeah, we can see you, we can listen to you properly. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm really very happy that the theme this time chosen is actually a mind, body, and sexuality. And it is one of the very dear subject to me, actually. And in fact, the whole world is looking into this particular area because for a long time, one of the neglected, not even discussed openly, and many such aspects. What I will try to do is actually try to incorporate some of the very common these things which actually we have experienced in our clinical practice, with an emphasis on day-to-day understanding what we have and the type of issues actually what we actually see in this practice. I always say that what actually Darwin, what he mentioned long ago when we were trying to talk about the historical aspect, that we do not know much about sexuality. And when you try to look at very recent textbooks also, the point made is actually few topics evoke so much anxiety and pleasure, pain and hope, discussion and silence as the erotic possibilities of our bodies. What it means is actually hardly we have moved much as far as the understanding is concerned. There is a much literature, work is actually happening in this particular area, but still it is a long way to go. It is Havelock Ellis, who is considered as the father of human sexuality, who says that sex lies at the root of life, and we can never learn to reverence of life until we know how to understand sex. And when we are trying to talk about sexuality, it is a multidimensional concept. We may be talking about physical and related aspects, social, cultural, interpersonal, and developmental experiences. Each one of these things actually make actually an individual, or what I would talk about the personality. Long ago, Adam and Eve bit the apple and the whole issue started. It may be as from one culture. Our Hindu culture has contributed immensely, and sexuality was given very divine place in this whole process. You might have seen the frescoes in the temples, any puja or any other this thing. In fact, when we be talking about related aspects, the pictures of Maithuna in many divine discourses, and Shiva, Linga, and lot many other things what we talk about, including Freud, what he had indicated that the snake as symbolic of some particular specific thing. These are all indicate that, in fact, our culture has contributed significantly to this particular process. Kama Sutra by Vatsayana was one of the first well-documented treatises on sexuality. In fact, I can hardly find anything significant, extraordinary contribution beyond this. And whatever explained at that particular time was precisely very scientific too. Unfortunately, the Victorian concepts and the taboo that was attached to this whole process persisted in our country, and sexuality becomes something like a topic not to be discussed or openly spoken about. In fact, this particular factor of Kama Sutra being employed in so many other related fields is actually one of the very well documented. When we try to talk about drives, we talk about primary drives and we talk about secondary drives. Primary drives are those which are actually absolutely necessary for our very living. It may be food, it may be air, it may be water. All these things are necessary for our very survival. Sex actually is brought under secondary drives, but all said and done, the power and intensity of this particular drive can be compared almost to the primary drives in certain situations. So it has been recognized that it is one of the extraordinarily important thing. And as Fields mentions, sex cannot be understood in any other fashion. Some things may be better, some things may be worse, but there is nothing exactly like it. Role of sex all through our life has been very well documented. And in this time of COVID, we will be talking here and there about the immunity and such other things. Ultimately, the health, the quality of life, and 100 other things one will be looking at it. What it actually, in fact, the research available indicates is that this is one of the best opportunity for expression of our passion, affection, admiration, loyalty, and other positive emotions. Affirmation of one's body and its functions. Maintaining a strong sense of identity, self-esteem, and feeling as a valued person. It is a means of self-assertion. It protects us from anxiety, intimacy, and sexual union. In fact, they provide great security for every individual. Defiance of the stereotypes of aging is well documented. Pleasure of being touched, caressed, and romance cannot be overemphasized. It is actually part and parcel of our living. And this is one of the avenue for our relationship and overall experience what we are going to talk about. I just added this particular photo to explain that this is one of the advertisements of a bed by Century company. What it says is actually you sleep on that, you will get very good sleep. But let me tell you, often many of us are sleeping with our enemies. This is one of the very narrow statement it may look like, but when we look at, we are so fond of each other before marriage, and once married, almost so many problems crop up. And one of the saying is that happily married people are those who actually they are staying at a different place. Being together automatically calls for a range of adjustments and issues that need to be looked into. And what Woody Allen mentioned, we are all well aware that love is the answer for so many problems in this earth. But while we are waiting for the answer, sex raises some pretty good questions, is one of the very important commenter statement. Coming to why it is important for we therapists, we will be talking about physicians in general or psychiatrists or psychologists. Sexual disorders and mental illnesses, there is a strong interrelationship. What is cause, what is effect, we may not be well aware of, but all said and done, there is a very, very strong relationship between these two components. The low self-esteem, interpersonal troubles, dissatisfaction with life, low quality of life are there if somebody, in fact, develops any sexual issues or problems. And somebody is having mental illness or any mental distress, all these problems are bound to again crop up. As a psychiatrist, when I am treating patients, I am well aware the appearance of sexual problems or sexual problems per se, they actually produce depression, anxiety, and we have plenty of examples who are actually, in fact, getting stuck with substance abuse and such things actually to overcome the anxiety which is associated with that. Even if you are treating somebody, not being adhering to the treatment, relapsing, and in fact, each and every medicine what we give, it may be for diabetes, hypertension, for mental illness, they have their own side effects. And this is one of the common area why the individual is non-compliant with whatever advice we try to give. So this is one of the very, very well recognized. Unfortunately, the particular area what should have been taken up by the doctors or in fact the health professionals is not actually taken by. There are actually great celebrities who have commented on certain types of sexual problems, although they are so simple that it can be very magically can be taken care of. Two people belonging to the opposite sex will be kept in one room for a few days and they will be cured of homosexuality is one of the statements. It may look too funny to understand this particular comment, but all said and done, there are a lot of people who actually propound high degree of intellectual this thing which may not be actually carrying sexual issues at all of that. I still remember in one of the colleges where I was trying to talk about, one of the students, in fact, I just wanted to see what actually the basic knowledge they have. The question cropped up something like, what is autosex, what is homosex? The boy suddenly standing up and telling, sir, autosex means doing it in the auto, homosex means doing it at home. So this may look too funny, but what we understand, what actually the scientific fact related to this, there may be a wide difference actually between these two areas. People talk about very commonly the word like sex therapy. People think that it is actually where people indulge in sexual activity. That is not In fact, sex therapy is one of the well-established medical psychiatric treatment technology. In fact, sex therapy is a very broad terminology. There are a lot of things to get into. Sex therapy is not something like you do something and magically something happens. In fact, the important point is actually, if somebody is not feeling good about one's own or partner's sexual response, this is where actually it is actually made use of. It intends to enhance loving intimacy and not focused on what we call guaranteed orgasms. It teaches showing love by meaningful and pleasurable sexual expression. There are actually those who are actually involved with the treatment of some of these type of problems. I can tell you in a very clear, concise, and precise way, the success is not likely if any sexual problem you are treating if you are not attending to the relationship issues or the problem of psychopathology in one partner. Take an example either depression, take an example hypertension, diabetes, or take an example alcoholism. Each of these things need to be attended first before we embark on this area. Or the vested interest to remain dysfunctional. Very often, intellectually, emotionally, in fact, blackmailing and a lot of other such things would be happening in relationship. And it may be actually one of the area specifically directed to the sexual issues. For those who are adjusted to dysfunction, I always say do not impose sex therapy. I have come across couple who are living for almost 20 years together without having consumed marriage. In fact, when you try to look at this type of problems, we ourselves, in fact, taking proactive role to, in fact, try to treat may land us in much more different type of problems than actually solving it. Sex therapy is not actually giving just reassurances or writing prescriptions. And somehow, doctors don't go into the details of issues related to the sex. But let me tell you, there are not likely to be any choice at all at doing well. That means you have to, in fact, look into this area. Contempt of sexuality is crime against life is actually what Freud mentioned actually. And this is absolutely true. And this needs attention. Who can be a sex counselor? In fact, one is who is having very well defined ego and who doesn't get involved emotionally or over involvement with the clients. One sexuality who actually has healthy attitudes. Quality of empathy, understands personality and counseling. In fact, emphasis on communication extremely important. Whether we are interviewing, whether we are collecting history, or whether actually carrying out treatment, it should be warm and effective. Both verbal and non-verbal communications are extremely important in any relationship who can attend to that. Inherent respect for others' problems, regardless of age, sex, socioeconomic, religion, culture, and such other aspects. Extremely important because, in fact, in the coming days, one may land up with, just like in the political field, many other such aspects, and one should be very clear about it. Life satisfying and rewarding, who can confidently keep the information confidential, relates to client in an open and trusting manner, creates supportive and helpful environment, honest feelings and opinions he can express, knowledge about treatment and referral, a proper good reading and both understanding biology and psychology, extremely important, and who can deal with professional colleagues in a respectful manner. These are all absolute necessities for any counselor. When I talk to some of the practitioners, they say they're all private matters why we should ask about. In fact, we don't worry about asking whether you pass stools or whether you pass urine. But when we come to the issue of sexuality, we somehow become very inhibited. We are unclear about what answers for. We are unfamiliar with treatment techniques available. Uncertainty about the question the patient may ask. We may feel fear of offending the patient. We may feel there is no obvious justification, but this is purely our own way of avoiding actually the further elaboration on this particular area. Generational obstacles. Client may be actually a little older and a young person may feel why I can ask these questions. Fear of sexual misconduct. Sometimes many people feel the sexual issues are irrelevant and unfamiliar with the sexual practices. So when we try to look at in a medical practice, these questions are really important. One should definitely ask. The diagram I just focused there to indicate that may look like a jumble, but there are actually about 5 horses. The sexual problems are like that. Only if you go into the details and then you realize actually the problems are present. What we don't ask, we don't see. In fact, it is not present. That particular way the whole world actually operates. Morbidity and mortality related to the sexual issues. It may be a symptom of an illness. It may be a treatment side effect. In fact, the earlier problem being carried forward as a memory, a function potentially lifelong and can create difficulties. And what one can definitely say is both these difficulties with the sexual life and the dysfunctions, when you are trying to talk about a syndromal this thing, both are extremely common. Both health and happiness are very strongly associated with this. And what I can tell, if we don't show interest in collecting all the adequate, reliable, detailed information, you may be, in fact, called negligent in attending to. Not necessarily medical negligent, one may be talking about in the very current context, but in the coming days, this may be one of the important areas. Ultimately, when you look at, there are both good things and bad things about sex. In fact, the initial slide I had spoken about how good and effective it can be in improving the quality of life. But there are so many social maladies when you try to talk about adolescent pregnancies, or what we talk about the rape, or 100 other such social maladies. What I can say is one important criterion that is missing is actually the sex education. Sex education initially was actually just maybe talking something about anatomy and physiology, something about reproduction, somewhere birth control and AIDS control, and people thought that actually this is sex education. Unfortunately, this is not. Hardly we have any state or place in India where adequate, proper sex education imparted to people. And I'm going to actually show a small video how actually the sex education is happening in India.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, students. Today we are going to talk about education. Sambhog Shiksha. So now we will learn about reproductive system. This is the male reproductive system. This is the other one. Any questions?
Sir?
Anyone? No. Anyone? Anyone? No? No? Good. Now, obviously, all you young people want to know, how does Yog Sangam happen? Watch carefully. First, Kundalinis meet. If you are Manglik, no Sambhog, sorry. Then, parents meet. Then, wedding meet. Then, Swagrat. Now we all know what happens at the Swagrat.
What happened, sir? Tell us, we don't know.
Beta, the boy inserts his Indian culture into the female
Video notification.
values. And then we all know what happened.
Okay, sir. Once again,
We'll move.
Okay.
Sorry, I came to know that video is not being seen.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll continue my presentation, of course. Without that also we can speak about. See, am I audible? Take precedent.
Yes. Yes.
See, Indian Psychiatric Society came out with clinical practice guidelines, and how actually the sexual dysfunction should be managed is available for doctors and a lot of people actually how to go about. Yeah, this is actually open access, available to everybody at indianpsychiatry.org. One can easily. Now I am starting the presentation itself. Shall I go ahead?
Yes, almost. Please. We can listen to you, Dr. Rao, sir. We can listen to you. Yeah.
So presentation of sexual problems, what we see in our clinical practice is that hardly they present with sexual complaints. This is actually the problem even in any other OPDs too. Most patients don't present with sexual complaints, and many of the words what they actually use, we need to understand that actually. One may come and tell that my kidneys are having some problem, but actually he may be referring to something a totally different organ altogether. He may talk about I can't bicycle, I can't have my life carried out in a proper fashion. All these very general terminologies may also indicate what we basically call sexual difficulty. Depending upon Some of the young students may be doing engineering. Sir, my machine is not working. So these are all, in fact, some of the very common terminologies, but not necessarily actually they mean anything at all. One need to go a little more into the detail and to see what actually this particular person is trying to talk about. In any clinical practice, there may be primary express problems that I am not able to perform. I am very fast in the gun and many other such terminologies. Many times it may be early clues for organic condition. When I did one of the initial studies on sildenafil citrate, the initial patients who had come with erectile dysfunctions, when we went into the details, almost about 20% of the screen failure cases had diabetes as one of the community problem. Now we know that if somebody is having erectile dysfunction, this may be one of the earlier indication for what we call the impending coronary artery disease. It may be also a complication of general medical condition one should be aware of. Let me tell you, many times actually it is not necessary that we need to spend too much of time in the initial part. You don't ask me, maybe about 5 to 10% of the patients will come and tell about sexual issues. If you ask only one extra question, do you have any sexual concerns to discuss? This number actually increases by about 50%. So it all depends on how much interest what you have. That way actually the people will make understanding about it. Coming to the areas of sexual counseling, there are plenty of aspects one can definitely look into. In fact, children and youth on sexual development, they are worried. I'm going to talk about 1 or 2 points a little while later. Parents get worried. In fact, boys, girls, how actually they're behaving. Each one of these type of things may be one of the major concerns of the parents. Adolescents, young adults, what actually to do in fact in the relationship. In fact, this is one of the major difficulty. Premarital counseling. Those who are married, in fact, the difficulties in sexual relationships, pregnancy and sex, varieties in sexual expression need, sexuality and illness. In fact, this is one of the major common area, gender identity. So the vast area under which actually we can work on, it will be actually plenty. When we are trying to look at whether all of these people will need sex therapy, absolutely not. In fact, there may be a person who may need just an idea that he is having guilt feelings related to masturbation. Maybe the permission giving may be more than sufficient. There may another person who may need little extra limited information related to the area. Specific suggestions for some other people. And intensive therapy only in a small minuscule of the patient is actually what may be necessary. Coming to men, because I'm addressing a lot of students in this particular program, I thought 1 or 2 myths and misconceptions what they have, we definitely need to explain to them. Men in general have so many problems, and in fact, many of the time what they present, 50% of them are related to the proper understanding not being just present there. Many people look into heroes and everybody wants to be like that. In fact, he wants to be tall, he wants to have glistening muscles, and by chance he is thin, he feels that he is not up to mark, and in fact, the girls tease me, and these are all extremely common complaints. Whether you are tall, whether you are short, or whether you are one way or other, absolutely not going to matter at all. About size of the genitals, in fact, about which actually the boys are so much worried. I am not up to the mark. And this is one of the very common refrain from a lot of people. People believe, in fact, one of the old statement, man is like his penis, the penis is an image of the entire man, is one of the idea which is actually very much strongly. Many people get worried, I am not up to the size, or in fact, I am not able to do well. That is because often, in fact, they try to compare and get worried that actually they are not doing well. He should spring like a tiger, and many of these type of things. And much more than that, loss of semen produces weakness, tiredness, and in fact, what we call in our culture, a syndrome called as Dhat syndrome. It is a myth and misconception related to the seminal loss, wherein they believe that semen, a drop of semen is equal to loss of so much of blood. They develop anxiety symptoms, depressive symptoms, phobic symptoms, neurasthenic and psychogenic symptoms. All these things are extremely common. Coming to females, just like boys, in fact, even girls can have so many ideas that they are worthwhile or sensual only if they are very young. Figure and appearance, I should be like this, one of the extremely common component. The breasts, bigger the better. Orgasm, a must. About orgasms, again, a whole range of actually misconceptions what may have. Sex is a dirty. Menstruation is actually a problem. and women do not masturbate. These are all various types of myths actually people carry forward. Extramarital sex and lot many other related problems, feeling guilty and other related things were actually one of the very common findings in our one of the earliest studies. Just to elaborate a little bit, they get worried that their nose, lips, or body, in fact, should have been in some particular fashion. Everybody feels that they should be almost actually match the most ideal, the film actors or the idol, what they actually keep in mind. Unless I meet that particular standard, actually I am not adequate, is one of the very common refrain actually people have. Just like boys have so much of worry about their date. In fact, in the similar fashion, the women actually carry a lot of ideas related to the size and the functionality of breast and functions. Why it is important? Of course, examining and if there is a lump and such other things, that would be one of the early indications that it could be a major problem is actually extremely important. They don't eat. They want to be thin. Ultimately, malnourished, and they can, in fact, the reported anemia and malnutrition in females in general is so in our country. Or sometimes the anxiety is actually made use of by or overcome by actually eating excessive. So either way, actually, they can land up with difficulty. Vegetarian food, non-vegetarian food is not actually the important component. What is necessary is actually that, in fact, the balanced, the healthy food, actually what one should be eating for a good, healthy life. Coming to menstrual cycle, menses is actually something wrong, bad, and lot many other ideas, even in the village rural folks, it is present even today. And coming to sexual functioning, in fact, people believe sex during menses, in fact, can create difficulty. Absolutely not true in that particular area. In fact, they are maximally sensual or, in fact, highly responsive to the sexual thing with the onset of menses and maybe the mid-cycle where the ovulation. It may be that God intended that both procreation should happen and actually that the cycle should actually progress. In fact, all this they were. Masturbation is extremely common among boys. We had mentioned about it earlier. But in case of women, possibly the reported figures may be somewhere around 60, 70% the Western literature. When we did a study on about 500 women in our country, only about 12% were reasonably comfortable, around 32% sometime or other, but with a lot of guilt associated. What it indicates is, see, when we are trying to teach the female sexual dysfunctions, in fact, to understand their sensitivity and capacity for her to make out what actually it is, in the sex therapy, it is actually training the woman in masturbation. Many of them actually, they don't know what is this experience and what actually, in fact, they are going through. Ultimately, in fact, not able to help the partner or, in fact, suffering because what is actually happening, not able to decipher, is one of the major difficulty among the females. Just like we mentioned earlier, when we are trying to talk about management of sexual problems, a lot of people carry a lot of myths and misconceptions. We try to correct their ignorance by what we call as education. Cultural taboos and myths they have that can be tried by what we call permission giving. If somebody is having poor communication skills, there are multiple methods available to teach communication skills. Sexual failure leading to fear of failure. In fact, something happened sometime. In fact, this is carried forward in such an extent that, in fact, a vicious circle basically sets in. What we basically, as a clinician, tell is, if there is a specific precipitating factor present, remove that factor. It may be a medication, it may be alcohol, it may be a drug, or it may be something else. In fact, if we can modify, in fact, one can look into the significant improvement. In some individuals, there are a range of difficulties, not only the myths and misconceptions, but the relationship issues. That's where the intensive sex therapy comes into picture, and redefining their success, removing their performance pressure, and all these type of things are extremely important. Coming to sexual sciences in general, there are many aspects that are part and parcel of it. Intimacy, orientation, reproductive health, sexual behaviors in general, and sensuality, all these things are part and parcel of understanding sexuality. And when you are using this word sexuality, it is having a very broad meaning. Identity, relationship, behavior in general, and physiological functionings associated with that all form what we call part and parcel of this particular understanding. It is Levine In fact, he is the person who actually in the studies documented that instead of what we call erectile dysfunctions, premature ejaculation, which were initially thought are extremely common, it is not so. It is actually the desire which is actually major component or problem. That's what actually propounded by Lavey. Gender identity, orientation, intention, the part comes under what we call as identity issues. Desire, arousal, and orgasm as psychophysiological sexual response cycle. And the last one, 7, this is one of the extremely important component. And when we are trying to talk about men and women in general, this is one of the very important area. Emotional satisfaction. Somebody who can experience pleasure, increased freedom, sexual abundance, positive attitude, and who indulges in frequent sex or regular sex. In fact, they actually do much better actually the sexual functioning is concerned compared to those who carry the negative regard for this. We have negative attitudes, critical attitudes, and they'll end up with what we basically call limited sex. Coming to identity, in fact, when we are trying to talk about sex in general or maybe the gender in particular, there is a different issues are there. Gender is overall behavior what we present as male or female. It denotes a set of behavioral norms associated with the gender status in a given social system. There is a significant variation between different cultures and eras. Even in a country like India, maybe one urban center to the rural area, the wide area of difference. North, south, east, west. In fact, each of these areas actually there may be different components. Coming to gender, this is one area which is actually having a lot of traction currently. And this is because many of the times we believe that it is something like male, female or binary decisions. Absolute terminology is there. It is not so. There are only 2 sexes. Sex is binary is one of the concepts people have. All people must be assigned to one particular sex. Sex assignment is fixed and it is stable. Each experiences a particular fashion and they are congruent with it. There is one real sex. Absolutely, all these are wrong statements, one should actually remember. And when you try to look at literature, the terminologies are so many. Transgender, transsexual, trans man, trans woman. In fact, there are about 100 such terminologies one can pick it up in an encyclopedia. What I am trying to tell is, gender identity is one of the very important component and it gets established in a child maybe somewhere around 2.5 to 3.5 years. And it is actually very often fixed. The fluidity is related to only certain related aspects, actually how actually an individual behaves. So I behave like a man or woman based on what actually I have been attributed to and I carry forward in that particular fashion. And this is all based on what we basically call the sexual organs which actually differentiate. When there is a little confusion, the range of intersex situations are there, which may, in fact, the parents may bring up the particular child as either a male or female and later produces a lot of difficulty. When I'm talking about transsexual, it is actually a metaphor wherein actually what it means is trapped in the wrong body. He has a body which is a male but feels that it is actually a female. You would have been better off as a female. Actually, she is having the female body, but actually feels that she is better off as a male. And this is what actually one of the important area one should actually differentiate. Earlier, we used to talk about identity. Now it has been depathologized. I'll come to that 1 minute later. This gender dysphoria is a newer concept which came up with DSM-5. It is a general distributive term, refers to individuals' affective and cognitive discontent with regard to the assigned gender. And what is necessary according to the current understanding is that if this distress is present related to this particular aspect, then only, in fact, this should be classified under disorders. Otherwise, in fact, it should be taken as part and parcel of our growing up and our personality. Transgender is a general term used to refer to those who identity is different from what actually they are born with. Genderqueer are those who feel they are between genders of both genders or neither gender. Cross-dressers, this one, in fact, he's actually a male, but he can perform and present the behavior exactly like a female. It may be a theater show or, in fact, even in a general behavioral way, actually, one can talk about. who wear clothing traditionally associated with another gender, but who maintain a gender identity that is the same as their birth assigned gender, known as cross-dressers, or in fact, transvestites is a very classically used terminology. There are plenty of movies that have come in that regard. In fact, one can see almost around 20 plus movies I could immediately latch on. And going a little more into the details, DSM-5, now it is very clear, gender dysphoria is the terminology. And ICD-10, what we are actually following all along, and now already the beta version of ICD-11 is there, which says that gender incongruity as one of the terminologies to document this particular point. What I am trying to talk about is, just like homosexuality was depathologized in 1973, this particular gender identity issue also has been depathologized. That means only those people with very definitive distress are only to be taken as actually problem cases which need to be attended. This is extremely important because very recently there were a lot of ideas and comments in the media, more particularly newspapers, talking about those who are having homosexual ideas or presentation with that being treated with drugs, ECT, and other psychosurgical procedures and all that. Absolutely, this is not permitted. And Indian Psychiatric Society has come out with a policy statement very recently that we don't attribute to that particular point at all. Sexual response cycle is one where, in fact, the problem can happen to anybody. But what Marston Johnson mentioned about excitement, plateau, orgasm, resolution has been remodified to some extent. Now we talk about the desire, arousal, orgasm, and what we basically call resolution. This is one of the very important aspects. And what is actually the difference between men and women, one should almost always be well aware of. Men are very fast on the gun. In fact, we talk about many of the behavioral aspects, they are like tube lights. But when it comes to sex, even if somebody is coming 1 kilometer away, this fellow knows that she is actually married or not. In fact, what I was trying to talk about in a little lighter vein, that they are very fast in responding. As far as the female is concerned, the whole process actually takes a bit of time. In fact, as one of the sexologists from Mumbai, Dr. Brown, in fact, used to talk about, the female, the stream is actually E3. That means you put the plug on, it takes its own sweet time for getting heated up. And once hot, even if you remove the plug, it's still pretty hot. So this is the difference between men and women. And if a man is not able to understand this particular difference, a woman is not able to appreciate this particular difference in actually functioning, both of them can land up with a range of difficulty. Let us look into what Marston Johnson mentioned, because this is one of the epoch-making, revolutionary concept actually which was propounded, that men can ejaculate, but then they have something called as a period they are not responsive. But women, though they take a lot of time, but once they are aroused, they can be multi-orgasmic. And more recently, as that last sentence what I have mentioned there, they can experience multiple orgasms. And some people may not experience orgasm at all. A woman can participate passively also. This is possible. But all said and done, extremely important that, in fact, the drive is adequate among both of them. What Marston Johnson presented was related to psychophysiological functioning. What it means is that primary physical, this thing, seduction, sensations, surrender, reflections, or the terminology used by David Reed to elaborate on erotic stimulus pathway. And these poetic descriptive terminologies are very classically applicable to the female responsiveness, and it is extremely important. When we are trying to talk about man, we talk about sex first and love next. But the woman's responsiveness based on the romance, love, and lot many other things, the sex comes almost last. And this is one of the reasons that the circular sexual response cycle depicted earlier may not be applicable to the female. Even at the height of responsiveness also, she may be worried about the child or maybe the kitchen work or maybe something else. So there are a range of psychological, physical, and many other emotional aspects that get into, and they are extremely important. That emotional intimacy not being there can be one of the major common area which can create quite a bit of difficulty. Coming to the concept of sexuality in general, this is one of the classic example of a biopsychosocial model. There are biological factors, psychological factors, and social factors. Almost all of these things actually intermingle. When we are trying to talk about medico-legal issues, a woman makes a complaint that is an unconsummated marriage, they want to divorce, a court may refer for very detailed evaluation of the man. All the tests may claim to be what will be positive, but that he is all right. But all said and done, he is just not able to perform with this particular person. He is not able to perform with one, but he is able to perform with another. This is another area what it actually indicates. There are a lot of social and psychological issues. And what is necessary for academician to understand that there are both biological and psychological factors which determine our sexual behavior. And coming to that, our brain mechanisms are there. There are a lot of what we call neurotransmitters, hormones, which determine our functioning. fMRI and a lot of other things have documented currently that so many changes happen in our brain in different parts, and that is actually extremely important. What is being said is that brain is the biggest sex organ in our body. There are some positive things which actually makes the individual arousable. There are negative things, maybe talk about fatigue, depression, disease, disability, drugs. Each of these things can actually affect. And both in case of men and women, the responsiveness is actually almost the same. That it is a erectile response in case of male, it is a swelling and lubricated response in case of female. But how they respond and all actually differs for range of reasons. And brain is the ultimate sex organ, what I was trying to mention. In case of men and women, there is a wide differences there. Man's brain is bigger, but all being said is that it is almost like a old desktop model. And woman's brain is like a laptop, condensed and but more proficient and more capacity it has. Women really have smaller brains, but they use them better than men is one of the very common refrain, and the scientific document is available. And when we are trying to talk about sex, he may be an academician and doing very well. That analytical left brain developed so well, but women, very significant what we call behavioral aspects which actually attributes to the right brain functions like music, appreciation, dance, and lot many other capacities, including perception. If a man doesn't understand the range of, in fact, to be able to appreciate beauty and other sensual aspects, actually he may land up with quite a bit of difficulty, even though he is able to weigh mastery of many subjects. When you are talking about intelligence, there are many capabilities women are extraordinarily great. In fact, the linguistic capability that appears much earlier, much bigger and broader concept actually what they have. Except for what we talk about mathematical, wherein there are some earlier studies which implicated that man could be much more mathematically better compared to women. But majority of the areas, in fact, women have done extremely well in all parameters of what we talk about intelligence. This is Gordon's concept that there are actually 7 kinds. One may actually have one and the other may be actually not much, that much well developed, or somebody may have almost all the areas. And when we are trying to talk about emotional intelligence, this interpersonal, intrapersonal, they all actually matter to a great extent. I thought 1 or 2 small ideas about what this brain studies have actually implied when you are talking about sexuality. If you look at this particular left side, we have given about 4 areas: the sexual pursuit, territorial defense, alarm system, motivation center. In fact, these are all extremely well developed as far as sexuality is concerned. In fact, in case of male brain, that what we call the inhibitory system, the prefrontal cortex, is very well developed in case of female, less well developed. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of indiscretion by the male sex is actually attributed to this particular common factor. Many of the times, a man won't be able to understand the emotional and cognitive and lot many other changes in a partner. In fact, I have come across ladies who come and tell that my husband didn't even remember my birthday. I wanted something actually he didn't even understand. My silence he doesn't understand. Ladies, I can definitely tell that man is not made for understanding many of these type of things. If he is capable, your partner, you are very lucky. What we suggest is, you must go out of the way and tell him that tomorrow is your birthday. You tell him that I want Kanjipuram silk saree. In fact, he will try to bring that. So many of the times, this difficulty in making out, and what we basically call the acuity related to the hearing, acuity related to a lot of cognitive functionings. In fact, the man's brain is quite deficient in a lot of areas. The amygdala, which is actually what called the best instinctual core, is larger in men, what we mentioned. But lot many other areas actually they are so well developed in case of females can lead to range of difficulties in men to understand them. One is actually the pituitary gland, the mummy brain, the hormones of fertility, and many of the times nurturing behavior is attributed to this. Insula is so well developed. In fact, the women are very strong in understanding the gut feelings. Instinctively, in fact, they can respond in a better fashion. Hormonal symphony. In fact, the menstrual cycle, there are actually periods when she is actually highly comfortable. There are other times actually she's in such an amount of pain and distress for particularly in psychological aspects are very well documented. And one of the other thing what we have noticed in our clinical practice is actually the guilt. The men don't feel that much guilty with many of the things. Women feel guilty for hundreds of things. In fact, the fantasy is actually what we call the drive for arousal, and which is absolute necessity. Women are actually least interested in this particular area. When I tell a woman that, in fact, the fantasy is extremely important component, she would rather fantasize the husband maybe wearing the shorts, wearing the lungi, wearing the pant, and this is actually not sufficient for many of the times actually to take her to that arousal this thing. A man can close his eyes and he can think of 1,000 women without much difficulty, and she feels guilty, and the guilt actually lead to a lot of difficulty. Hippocampus is another area. Never forgets fight, romantic encounter, and tender moment. It may apply to both men and women, boys and girls. But there is a story that, in fact, we don't forget what the initial our first experiences. But coming to hippocampus in case of women, they never forget fight, romantic encounter, and tender moment. Not only that, they won't let you forget us. I can talk about a lot of examples in this particular area. In fact, a woman who came and told about pain around the neck because 20 years ago the husband had hit her there once actually. So many of these type of things actually almost like a computer, they register and actually retain it for a much longer time, and that leads to a lot of difficulties. One of the very, very well documented this. And when you are trying to talk about biology, now we are well aware that phosphodiesterase 5 inhibitors like sildenafil, tadalafil, they are very effective. And apart from brain and related mechanisms, locally what is actually happening is the nitric oxide, which is metabolized by cyclic GMP, leading to the efflux of calcium and vasodilatation and erection. Unfortunately, what happens, these PD5 enzymes, they metabolize it, and because of which actually man loses the erection. The inhibitors can block this and can bring about. And what actually, why I am telling all these things at this juncture is, when this sildenafil citrate was introduced, everybody thought that all sexual problems in the world can be actually automatically solved. 2 years later, a Chinese study documented that almost about 2,000 couples with introduction of PD5 inhibitors, hardly it has changed. What it means is relationship and such other things actually matter very significantly. And when we are talking about sex, it is purely physical, is actually no more actually applicable. There are a lot of biochemical and lot many other such things actually operate, and the pharmacology is one of the extremely important component. Many of the behaviors of the men actually is related to the testosterone. Many women feel odd about many men's behaviors is related to this particular fact that testosterone is actually responsible for many of these type of things. Sexual drive is high in case of man because the sex and pleasure is actually very closely tied. In case of women, the sexual drive corresponding age very often less, mainly because often it is treated as duty than joyous and pleasurable activity. Whole range of cultural and related factors actually block them actually enjoying the whole aspect. When you are talking about libido, any corresponding age, actually there is a difference. Man is actually much more libidinous at that particular point. This is one of the reasons. So say in India, we almost always talk about age difference. Boy should be, or a man should be older. But sexologists almost say that the boy should be 2 or 4 years younger than the woman because that's where it actually matches. Many of the times in our place, they marry maternal uncle or sister's daughter. Age difference about 10 years or 12 years, which can lead to quite a bit of difficulty, what I have seen. There are hormones which actually operate positively. there are hormones which operate, or neurotransmitters which operate opposite way, but all these things are extremely important. Overall, what I can say, in case of women, it is almost under lock and key because the romance, love, these are all important matters, but exhibitionistic behavior is much more common among the males. And when we are trying to look at any of these advertisements or any of the what we basically talk about situation is being inhibited. Closing the eyes, in fact, often we have documented this particular behavior, and what is actually can be attributed is, in case of man, the erectogenic tissue is at one particular place. In case of woman, this is distributed far and wide. Unless she closes and concentrates, it is not possible for a woman to get aroused. And this is one of the difficulty what actually has been documented. Man keeps his eyes wide open because after this female, who is coming next? In fact, these are all extremely common ideas in the population. Orgasm in women, in fact, there are plenty of studies in the clinics of North America. One of these meta-analysis talks about fantasy is actually very poor as far as the woman's arousal is concerned. With intercourse situation, in fact, only about 1/3 of the women can reach orgasm. What was actually documented was it is the touch and touch alone, and this is one of the reasons why the psychologist's role or behavior therapy or psychotherapy and lot many other things are extremely important, including one of the very specific treatment we talk called as sensate focus exercises. They're all very important in treatment aspect. We never used to talk earlier about a hormone like oxytocin. We were confined ourselves to testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, which are very common hormones in men and women. Now we believe oxytocin, which is actually a bonding hormone. In fact, this bonding is one of the extremely important component in the case of female behavior in general, and in fact the sexual behavior in particular. And this is one which gives that warmth, or in fact that electric sensation we talk about, the initial exposure or experiences. But after marriage, he was loving me so much, and suddenly why it actually changed is one of the refrain from a lot of ladies. And let me tell you, this oxytocin tolerance develops very fast. One of the joking example what we can give is during the time of marriage, just Saptapadi, he has to hold the hand and go for rounds, and that's where actually the whole touch sensation goes off. Unless a new person comes, he may not be able to get that particular experience. Coming to etiology, initially we used to talk about organic and psychological, but now that concept that has been really taken off. 90% of the problems are both combination of both organic and psychological. 1/3 of the men and half the female population suffer from problems. Many of the times, many of the disorders when you treat, in fact, the problem becomes almost double. And hypertension, coronary artery disease, alcohol, and what we talk about smoking and the related things, all of these things are major common problems. In fact, it creates difficulties in life. Stress is another important, very common area when you are talking about psychological theories. And to make you understand, say something like what is stress, what is anxiety, what is panic, and this thing, I thought one classic example what I can give, it may again take it lightly. Stress is when wife is pregnant, anxiety when girlfriend is pregnant, panic when both are pregnant, and depression and tragedy when you are not responsible for any one of them. So, range of difficulties, in fact, anxiety, depression, panic, all of these things can actually produce problems. Stress proneness, there are some people, extremely common. And what we talk about a personality, that initial constitution or early bringing, in fact, both things are actually very important for what we talk about managing stress. And when overwhelming stress is present, it can create quite a bit of difficulty. And what we talk about the word hardiness. In fact, these are the people who have managed stress earlier better. In fact, they actually do the sexual life also in much better fashion because they are able to handle the range of this thing. They are able to adjust. They are able to cope. More vulnerable you are, more likely actually it can create problems. And from that angle, the ICD classification, what we used to follow, the DSM system which is actually present, WHO come out with another different classification wherein they have given multi-axial system. Clinical disorders, they recognize sexual disorders and other mental disorders under axis 1. Disabilities, contextual factors, quality of life, all these things actually matter. Second component, again, I will not go into the elaboration of that, but now we have various ways to actually rate disabilities. Other parameters like privacy, that means family, house, education, economic, cultural, personal, extremely important, and quality of life assessment. All of these things one should actually look into. Psychological aspects are extremely important. In fact, the Freud, as the father of psychology, had mentioned about many of the things, and Freud's concepts are actually nowadays not emphasized by many psychiatrists. But let me tell you, what actually we see on the surface is something totally different from what is actually unconscious. These guilt conflicts are actually responsible, and my emphasis is don't forget Freud. Coming to women's sexuality, there are a lot of things are there. Compared to men, there is a wide range of difference, and in fact, here the emphasis is on intimacy and sexuality and sensuality. And what actually people talk about participative relational sex, this is much more important here than actually anywhere else. We have a lot of publications related to this. These are the 2 books, and lot many other books also are there. And this particular email, if you can just send me, means I can send the soft copies of all these books. Coming to intimacy, in fact, that particular relationship where partners respect each other, love each other, in fact, it's much more easy to manage than many people believe that I was so happy, but then I came across this particular person. That's where the difficulty arises. Once married, you can't get out of it, and how easily you can adjust and cope is another important thing. The technology and lot many other things nowadays have brought in a lot of other type of difficulties to break this intimacy factor. When you are trying to talk about sensuality, what arouses a man? In fact, a dirty old man one may talk about, but this is one of the extremely important component, and which can keep the individual active. So sensuality is related to many aspects. Keeping the time constraint in mind, I won't go into the details of this. But being hygienic, being happy, being well-dressed, being actually impressive, actually matters very significantly even in case of sexual behavior. And I can just quote one example. One man who came and told that, say, I married for about 2 years. I want my wife to be very neat, clean, and nicely dressed. And when I come home, she should be very happy looking. She doesn't take bath every day. When this particular issue came for discussion, she was telling, sir, please tell him that I am not his girlfriend, I am his wife. That means because I am married, I can neglect my own, what we call sensual aspects, can quite a bit of difficulties it can produce in a relationship. Keeping oneself active is one of the extremely important components. Ultimately, when we look at the Sternberg's love triangle to lot many other developments that are actually passion in early days very high, but commitment actually as and as we age is one of the very important component. As and as we age, in fact, people believe that sexuality is not important. So there is one small common issue related to the development of sexuality. About a few minutes, I will just take on this. We all started our life as females. The fusion happens. That's where actually when what we talk about this being converted into what we call the boy. In the initial stages, whether in the womb or then immediately after birth, in the initial few days, significantly, in fact, interest in our own body. The girl develops with the negative feelings because she's missing something, what actually the psychologists call Electra complex and so many other such things. And being exhibitionistic and show off being actually much more common among the male sex, among the boys, what we actually been documented. This particular age, sex education is extremely important. Nowadays, people are exposed to in a very early age about issues. Why the girls are maturing much earlier, or the way boys are showing so many changes in the very early age in the adolescent itself, may be attributed to a lot of changes that are happening in the society. But all said and done, in fact, sex education is extremely important. This is one of the Kinsey study, and extremely important here for understanding adolescent and the little older age issues. That when you are talking about adolescent, the boys' sexual desire or interest or activities are about 3 to 4 times or 5 times more than actually the girls. But then somewhere around 35 years it matches. And this is one of the reasons why that age difference between boy and girl is too much means can end up in a lot of difficulties. All through the life one can be sexually active. Boys start showing interest much more is actually one of the very well documented things. Those who start early sex life, they continue to be sexually active all through their life or for much longer time. Sex is like use or lose. Somebody actually gives gap In fact, it actually diminishes to that extent. Attraction to one another, there are a lot of phenomena related to this. Marriage sometimes solves problems, but sometimes creates more problems. Be responsive and minimum age suggested by the International Parenthood Federation is around 22 years for the girls and for the boys 25 years. That amount of maturity is extremely important. The early child marriage and other things can create a lot of difficulty. As and as we age, people used to believe that sex is only for procreation, not for recreation, and for old people, why it is. Arousal depends on physical attractiveness. Desire for intercourse is highest in youth and quickly declines afterwards. Romantic, passionate love is only for young people. Sexual anatomy deteriorates as one ages. People frail, they cannot participate to. Many other such actually misconceptions are there. My own presidential address for Indian Association of Geriatric Mental Health was related to this particular area, and we have done quite a bit of work. And one or two small points: as and as man ages, his sexual interest or capacity declines significantly, and women's actually it increases. How it can be attributed is actually by somewhere around that fourth decade or the fifth, the male hormones becomes relatively more in case of females because that inhibitory female hormones are reduced. That leading to a whole lot of effect, and the couple seeking divorce little later age, very well documented. Initially, we thought it is only in case of women that menopause, but men also can go through that. Andropause, viropause can be one of the major common cause for depression, and are actually the various behavioral changes what we see about. Men become naughty around 40 was one of the very common theme, because the declining this thing, he wants to prove something and making a lot of adventurous. These things are well known. At least 4 of what we basically call the depressive components are commonly seen among this particular area. And only point way how we can differentiate the depression and viropause is by the level of testosterone in the body. As and as man ages, initially is very fast. That's what we had spoken about. But as he ages, he slows down. But that gives that added extra advantage that he can be participating in the sexual activity in a much better fashion. And in a I had one video, but I think it is not clear. But what I can say is, men don't stop having sex because they grow older. They grow older because they stop having sex. Sex makes older men feel happier and younger. It can give as much joy at 70 as it gives at 20. Some men say it is even better. What I can say almost as a part of my concluding this thing, many of the times when you are talking about female sexuality, where they are looking at the cure, it is actually the cuddle or the touch, or in fact the sensuality is much more important. Nowadays, the gadgets and lot of things actually have brought in a different field altogether. You are there, but you are not there. This don't take this laptop or your gadgets to actually the bedroom is one of the very strong advice given, almost like cyber video concept. This is a day of pandemic. The trouble with sex is one of the extremely important common problem, because many of the things what are advised for COVID-19 prevention, they are all actually in fact affecting us in one way or other. In COVID-19 time and sex, we talk about social distance, 6 feet, 3 feet, and things like that. Virus which is present in throat and the nasal secretions and droplets is actually documented. Survival of the virus at different places, secreted by stools, saliva, and no secretion documented in case of semen and vagina. But what I can tell you, there are no studies available that it is actually present even in these components also. So this is becoming more and more problematic. But one of the message I can give for all who may be possibly listening, that masturbation is the best and the safest in this particular time. If you have a mutual reliable partner, wife or husband, absolutely there is no problem. Use of sex toys, vibrators, watching pornography, blue sex, online sex, sexting, watching movies, romantic, otherwise, absolutely there is no difficulty. But don't indulge in adventures. Sex with strangers or anybody new can be very risky and problematic. So social distancing, not only physical, but even sexual, is extremely important. So carry home message of my presentation. Sexual equilibrium is extremely important, and very often when you are talking about sexual problems, it is actually one unit, man and woman. This individual and couple component is extremely important, because one may be having problem, but another may be actually presenting. I still remember there are examples like unconsummated marriage, married to an what we basically call cousin's daughter, anxiety, and then at the end of 4th year, the man going and telling that I cannot wait. Next day, they called him, come home and you perform. And the cot had been kept in the hall, and there were about 5 ladies holding the hands, legs, and all for that particular girl and asked him to perform. He removed the pant, but he couldn't get the erection. They blamed him actually that you are not man. So, who is having problem and who is not having problem, these are all extremely important to be established in the beginning itself. Those who are psychologically sophisticated and motivated, pharmacological and psychological therapies, and those who are not so, in fact, we just talked about primarily physical treatment. Do remember, physical health is extremely important in one's life. A perfect wife, perfect husband, they are not available on this earth. You have to adjust and make them actually work out in that particular fashion. Giving a necklace is not going to work that way. In fact, a girl doesn't look for 6 packs in men or the necklace what he presents, but how you spend time with the partner is one of the extremely important components. And the appreciation and related things are very important for what we call arousal. Aphrodisiacs are nothing extraordinary. This example comes with an excellent mood. And the partner is one of the best aphrodisiac one can think of. People may be talking about Ayurvedic to pro-sexual herbs. All of them improve cognitively, and in fact, they can add energy. But all said and done, relationship and communication in relationship matters to a great extent. And as a conclusion, I can definitely say that sex is a conversation carried out by another means. This is part and parcel of our living being. This Ardhanarishwara concept, in fact, both man and woman present in each and every individual, how, in fact, the best of both the things, in fact, what we like to do. Contempt of sexuality is a crime against life. We may help somebody, may not be able to help somebody. To cure sometimes, to comfort always, to hurt the least, to harm never, should be our actually the theme. And as a conclusion, sex is the ultimate expression of love. To be able to give pleasure to a beloved person at the same time save it, you need experience, which may seem like a small miracle. And with that, this is last but one slide. Carrying a message, regular sex and frequency are extremely important. That is extremely important component. Diversify from genital sex. Use your imagination and fantasy. Diet and exercise sensibly. Capitalize on your assets. Stress reduction techniques are very useful. Stop smoking and avoid alcohol. Avoid sex offender drugs. Take professional help where necessary. But these are all carry home messages for you. Bring man-woman magic. With these parting words, let me convey the greetings and regards personally, and greetings from my institution, JSS Medical College, JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research. This is the first university started programs in fellowship in psychosocial medicine for doctors and the certificate course for psychologists and other professionals. And we are editing a journal of psychosexual health published by SAGE. I welcome you to contribute to our research findings and maybe including reviews and editorials and everything, anything related to, you want to convey the message to others. Thank you very, very much for this great opportunity given to me and award that have been bestowed to me. I work to, in fact, carry forward this particular message or the responsibility what you have given to me. Thank you very, very much.